Evening, my friends. It is Draft for Upside Wednesday night. It is heading into week 13. I think there was football today, wasn't there? Wasn't there football today?
Yes, there was. We are going into week 13. That's what we're talking about.
That's right. That was weird, man. Did you watch any of that game?
Majority of it.
Majority? How was it?
Not good.
Not great?
No, it was terrible. You had a pretty ineffective Ravens offense, and then you had the Steelers just dropping passes left and right. I think Big Ben threw for he threw like 51 pass attempts, 54 pass attempts, something just outrageous like that. They scored 19 points, and not one receiver had more than 54 receiving yards. So that kind of gives you a microcosm of what that game kind of was like. It was kind of decided on the showdown last minute as Hollywood Brown broke off a huge run for catch and run for a touchdown, kind of shifted things. So
yeah, man, I was happy to see that. I shared some advice earlier in the day on a page with arguing with a few gentlemen over Gus Edwards or Hollywood Brown, and they talked a bunch of smack when Edwards got that touchdown off the turnover, and I was like, he's still not to 10 points, guys. Like, he's had 9 rushes for 9 yards and 1 touchdown. Like Hollywood Brown was still the guy, and luckily that happened, so I didn't look like a complete moron, because I do that on my own quite often enough.
Yeah, because I would have sided with them. I think Gus had the clearer path.
Yeah. The way I looked at it is Pittsburgh defense is really good. Justice Hill was going to get some run, and Hollywood, to get 10 points, only needed 1 catch, 31 yards, and a touchdown. So
which he hasn't done all year. So okay.
Yeah, but I'll take it. I like it. I'm happy. Trying to figure out how to share. I've like lost how to do things. There we go. Join us, won't you? Ask your questions. More importantly, I know there was football today, but we're moving on to week 13, and we're moving on to some beverages. I hope that you're drinking already, because I'm about to.
Yeah, I'm having some wine.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. What kind of wine?
It's one of the 19 crimes, not the base one. It's one of the higher cab sabs. I don't know. Yeah,
the base one's got that guy who looks like Jim Carrey on the front.
Yeah, this one's like called the Sentenced or something like that. It's like a $20 bottle instead of nice. $7. There's something floating in it.
If you didn't know, I celebrated my 5th year anniversary for a witch's hat. So I went over there and had a beverage with the owners over at their place, and they gave me some beer. So I got a strawberry mango deflowered, a strawberry mango New England IPA.
I didn't think this out. I got whatever was floating in there out.
Good.
But now, what do I do with my wine-soaked fingers?
Lick them clean.
I got a dark shirt on. It's all good.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
It'll be okay.
You got to have deflowered when you came to visit last year. This is the strawberry mango version.
Don't remember any of them.
That's good. No, I don't imagine that you do. What didn't get confiscated by the last bar you went to?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't remember much of what wasn't confiscated. We went a little hard because you were there for a short amount of time, and so we tried to get as much drinking in as possible early.
It was a good move.
Yeah.
That was a really good move. Yeah, man. How's work?
It's all right.
Yeah. Good. Well, I don't have a job. I wake up every morning and I walk down the stairs and I play They Might Be Giants 7 days a week. I never go to work song. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic listening.
Okay.
Yeah, I take it. But hey, then. So outside of Dalvin Cook really screwing us all over, any good news came out of last week's DFS for you?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. I was super light on Derrick Henry, and I had considered it a couple times, and I just didn't go there as often as I wanted to. I certainly didn't have Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill, which I had a couple Tyreek Hills, but I didn't have either of them together. My Derrick Henry lineup was pretty good, except for it had Daniel Jones, Evan Ingram. So it looked good early, but then Daniel Jones just kind of fell apart. Like literally, his leg kind of fell apart and he wasn't able to play anymore. And then I was running it back with Tyler Boyd. Had I run it back with T. Higgins, probably would have been a little bit of a better situation. But I was heavy on Derek Carr. I was heavy on Daniel Jones. I didn't pay on the quarterback. I went down. I avoided.
Derek Carr didn't do well.
No. And that game just kept going. Like it just got it just kept going. I was like, all right, man, this could happen. This could be like Drew Lock and Jerry Jeudy. They're gonna do this, and then it's just turnover, drop ball, turnover. And it's just like, my God, like. And then the next thing you know, everybody else is in like the fourth quarter, and they're still at halftime. So it's like, yeah, they still have a shot. And it just never materialized. Daniel Jones goes out, and the other I avoided Josh Allen to some extent. I had him. My FanDuel lineup had Josh Allen, which wasn't as bad. In cash there, I did actually very well. Just had more in GPPs than cash, so ended up still as a net loss. So that was problematic. I mean, I avoided like Keenan Allen. I thought that was a mistake. I was a little light on Eckler, but I played him. So it is what it is. I mean, it makes sense looking back on it, but it could have very easily been very different. I mean, look, I went to sleep after Tyreek Hill's second touchdown. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, after Olabisi Johnson got his 7 catches for 70 yards, almost exactly what our boy Mark had predicted, I kind of just quit watching. So.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on that receiving corps did too, though.
No, it's true. That was funny.
And that's look, it's because Dalvin Cook didn't do anything, so they had to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I had to go somewhere else, man. Yeah, I only did 3 lineups. I only did 3 this week, and I did not have Hill. I did not have Henry. And I had a lot of Herbert. He was just okay. He didn't do what I needed him to do. And I had him with Williams. I didn't have him with Keenan Allen at all, but that didn't really work. And I had Cook in all 3 teams, so that just sunk it right there. So it wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, if you read my article, you knew where my exposure was. I had 2 games, and the crux of it was I was gonna write up the Tampa Bay Kansas City. It was my 3rd one. I had it written down. I just didn't put any content there, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna focus on these 2. I'm not gonna put this. And I think if I had written about it, if I had taken the time to bold out the players and their salaries, and writing somebody's salary is a pain in the ass because you're putting quote the parenthesis and cash sign and the numbers. It's just a pain in the ass. You can't copy. It just sucks. Okay, the whole Control B thing, super awesome. Love it. Love bolding people. Never knew about that for a long time, but now I do, and now I like doing it. But I just decided not to write about that. And even if I had, I think the mistake I would have had is I would have played Antonio Brown for the most part. When thinking back on it, and this is 2020, this is looking at the result. This isn't actually looking at any factual data that supports this. But when you think about Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes and those matchups that they had, who was the target that Tom Brady threw to, especially in that AFC Championship game? It was Gronkowski. He was the guy that gave him the most trouble. So a pretty logical step there to play Gronkowski. Probably wouldn't have played Evan Ingram in that case. So I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, I guess we'll just have to move on.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do.
It's only 4 more weeks of this, right? 13. Yeah, because
right?
Week 17 doesn't count. So we're not going to play heavy there. So, yeah, just 4 more weeks of this. So
nice. All right, we're going to start off, man, right away. New Orleans Saints heading over to Atlanta. We got a 45.5 over under. We've got the Saints -3. Saints are arguably maybe the best overall defense according to DVOA right now. I mean, they're like number 2 in every single category, number 1 in sacks. I mean, they just are on an absolute tear. And they're basically ranked top 3 against every position player and fantasy points. It's interesting. Matt Ryan has kind of sucked as of late. The real story here is what has happened with Kamara. I mean, we've talked about it week after week. Basically, Lat Murray's getting all the straight-up running plays, and Taysom Hill doesn't check down. When the play isn't there, he just runs. So he's not getting the checkdowns. So it's just devastating, man. I mean, the boards that I'm listening to, these people are like talking about trading Kamara to try to make the playoffs. And I mean, it's a crazy turn of events for Kamara with this change at quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's, I think there's a little bit of overreaction in terms of the Latavius Murray. I mean, he has those games and, he was just running really well. He broke off a couple longer runs. I don't put a lot of weight into that. The lack of action in the short passing game is certainly an issue. But the other parts of this
game, 3
targets
last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I don't take a look at a 1-game sample size in terms of him getting 11 carries versus 19 for Latavius Murray. I don't think that continues. I think that was a weird game. So, I think he's going to get the bulk of the running. It's just whether or not a team can actually, keep up with them offensively. And it's not like they have a high-powered offense right now, but Denver had no offense. So, that game was kind of predictable from that sense. And, we talked about this. I highlighted New Orleans defense that struggled at the beginning of the year. They do this every single year, and then they start to turn it around mid-season. And it's just like you just have to kind of catch that wave. For whatever reason, just go back, look at it year after year. Every year that Lattimore has been there, same thing, every single year. In terms of the Falcons, if we want to look at trends that happen on a year-to-year basis, Matt Ryan usually starts off really hot, has a really bad phase in the middle of the season, and then kind of gets hot again. And a part of that is he is missing his weapons. I don't really want any part of Matt Ryan in this offense unless Julio's playing. If Julio's not playing, and I don't know what his status is, it looks like he's not on the injury report. I think you can look at some of the pieces here. Michael Thomas got no use last week. 6 targets over the 12 from the week previous. Still, he's at 7,000. If you assume this is going to be a little bit more of a higher scoring affair, I think you can definitely look Michael Thomas's way. I like Julio Jones at 6,600. It's hard to believe that despite this matchup, that he's not going to have some ownership attached to him. And there's just something to consider when you have these high-end guys, these top-level talents. Defense doesn't matter in that sense. And it's a cliche saying. It's something that was big on Twitter. It was just basically for projection's sake, for median projections, the defense doesn't really matter that much. You can fade him if you want. If he's going to be highly owned, it might make sense from that standpoint. But when you get these top-end guys, I'm not worried about the matchup. They can always overcome it. That's what that top-end talent does.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Michael Thomas this week. I think the game flow with how well Lat Murray was running, how Denver had no offense, how they were just playing ball control. I think what ends up happening when you've got Taysom Hill that can run, they really kind of have to pay more attention to a QB spy here or there. They got to do edge contain to try to keep him, from scrambling, and it really opens up more one-on-one for Michael Thomas. You would hope that Atlanta's offense is way more efficient than Denver's absolutely no offenses was, and that they'll have to push a little bit more. So I do like Michael Thomas a lot this week.
And I think the leverage spot is Alvin Kamara. His price is down at 7,000. So if we're talking large,
crazy low
P's, I mean, would you be shocked if he came out and got 7 or 8 targets and was the focal point of the offense? And that's what Sean Payton decided to do after, seemingly having no involvement for several games. That's what Atlanta's expecting. And then all of a sudden, he's going to be the feature piece. Taysom can make those passes. He can get that usage. It's just they haven't used him as such. So that I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put him in a cash game lineup. I'm not banking on it or anything, but I just wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, 7,000 is just too good for a guy who can hit 25 points. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things about Atlanta, when you look at them from year to year, they used to give up tons of catches to running backs. They haven't this year. They did in the first game to Chris Carson, but outside of that, Ezekiel Elliott got 6 catches as well. But then you've got like a David Montgomery. I mean, actually, they've given up quite a few. It just stopped kind of when they started playing Alexander Madison, DeAndre Swift. Still five catches. I mean, I don't know. I think that this is a situation where you could see Alvin. If he gets 6, let's say he gets 5. Let's say 4. Gets 4 catches. If he gets 4 catches, what is the average per catch? Let's just take a look at this at the 7,000. A touchdown and 80 yards. We're at 14, 4 catches. We're at 18, and then his average per catch receiving is 10. So let's just say 30 on the low end. Let's say it's a little different, 24, 16, 32. I mean, he's there. I mean, he's not exceedingly over. I think that his deviation from his median is not that far off that I wouldn't want any shares of him if I had 20 lineups. So I probably would play him, once or twice in 20 lineups.
I put you on the spot. New Orleans -3. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'll take New Orleans -3. Is that what the line is? Yeah, I guess it is.
-3. I am with you on that. Moving on, Detroit is heading to Chicago, 45 points. Chicago Bears favored by 3. I mean, the Bears are just complete garbage against the Packers last week, but Mitch being back did definitely spark some Montgomery, where he hit 100 yards. They tend to play well together. I'm a big season-long owner of Montgomery in 2 out of 3 money leagues, so I'm happy for that. And also the return of the just chuck it up to A-Rob game, which they were doing until Foles took over. What do you have, 12, 13 targets?
I mean, his biggest target games prior to that game were with Nick Foles. So I don't think that this changes anything. I mean, Nick Foles came in, he got 13, 10, 16, and then they went away from it and they went on their losing streak. This team is just not very good. The Lions aren't very good, but we've seen a coaching change, and by all accounts coming out of Detroit, this sounds like the majority of the Lions players, past and present, are happy about this move. So I think you probably get a freer, more relaxed Lions team. I think they put up some points. I think they're going to throw the ball downfield. I think we're going to see more of that Lions offense that we saw last year at the beginning of the year, especially if Kenny Galladay's back. So probably not playing a ton of this in DFS, though. Just probably not going to bet it either. I just hope that something's there.
I mean, the Lions have been just trash defensively DVOA. They're basically at the bottom end of almost everything.
Yeah,
there's no love for Monty?
No, absolutely not.
Come on.
No, like you're probably going to take this game. You're going to be like, oh, well, this is why I should draft him next year. And you shouldn't. And it's great. Go ahead, draft him. He's garbage. He is terrible. The only reason he's putting up any type of relevant fantasy numbers is because he's getting bell cow usage and he's shit back. If he had any type of snap share with, any, like, let's see, even a 70-30, he's not relevant in season long at that point.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been 2 leagues because it was one of those took all the wide receivers first and ended up taking whatever scraps were left over. So yeah, I'm not playing him in DFS, man, but I need him to make the playoffs. So you shut your mouth, man.
Yeah, no, I think this is a game where just Detroit can come out. I mean, Chicago is on a slide. They started 5-1 and they're 5-6 right now. I think it's the game Detroit comes out and wins.
Yeah, I actually had this circled as Detroit +3 to start my look at the betting week.
Yeah, you got to update the sheet. I put some bets to the right because it's not updated.
Well, update the sheet then, man.
I do all the color coding.
I like it. All right, let's keep moving, man. Indianapolis heading over to Houston. We've got 3-point favorites in the Colts. 51 point is the total there. So Indy, man, they started off red hot at the beginning of the year, and the defense started to cool down. They've given up 93 points in the last 4 games. Of course, 3 of those games were like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to Henry, and then the absolutely on fire Aaron Rodgers. But it can't really be ignored, except for the fact that Houston's missing their starting running back and now their star wide receiver. It's an interesting spot here. I think you're going to see Jonathan Taylor come back and have a nice game here. I definitely think that Brandon Cooks is going to see probably 12 to 15 targets without Fuller out there. And then, of course, the return of Kiki Kuti to relevance for a few deep shots downfield.
Yeah, no, this is one of the bets that I'm, placing right now, just seeing how the lines move. I like Indianapolis, -3 in this case. Absolutely. Texans don't have any weapons. Yeah, I mean, Cooks is going to get a ton of targets. They won't be as high quality. I mean, they're going to be situations that they're already not for the most part. When you look at his targets, he only catches like half of them. So give him 12-6. Yeah, he's going to be relevant at 5,600. QT at 3,500. Maybe he's worth a play. The guy that I'm really kind of interested in here, and I've been getting behind him, is a little T.Y. Hilton. Kind of having a little bit of a resurgence, still super cheap, 4,300. Always burns the Texans. So yeah, this is kind of one of those games. I like Indianapolis to roll this game though. I think the
Man,
defense comes to play. Two of those games where you're playing Baltimore, you're playing Green Bay, and you're playing the Texans or the Titans twice. So,
yeah, I think without all the injuries, Houston stands a better chance. But I'm with you on that. I like Indianapolis here. Like I said, I like Taylor again. I could get behind Ty. I was a Ty truther for many years. I have not been on the train this year. We have a question from YouTube here. Timothy Park is asking, do I trade Thomas for Swift? Not for me.
I mean,
it depends on the needs of your team more than anything, obviously, when you're talking seasonal leagues. But just one for one, I'm more of a Thomas fan.
Yeah, I mean, I also take a look at who they're playing over the course of the rest of the season, who they're going to be playing in the playoffs. I don't have their schedules up in front of me. I think the other thing that you have to consider with Thomas, at least, I mean, and they both have their considerations. Thomas, what is that offense going to look like until Drew Brees comes back? When is Drew Brees coming back? And is it going to look like the first game with Taysom Hill where he gets a bulk of targets, or is it going to look like the last game? That's what you have to ask yourself. In terms of Swift, does he get hurt? Do the Lions try and preserve him to some extent after the season is fully lost, which it kind of already is? You have two other running backs that are going to probably take snaps, and you're probably not going to put a heavy workload on the guy that the one guy is coming back next year.
I'm going to go Thomas simply because, they've got Atlanta this week. They've got Philly next week. Then they've got Kansas City, which should be a game where they have to throw a lot. And then they finish up week 16 with Minnesota. If you make the championship, it's a prime matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Thomas. I think he has a higher upside for sure.
There you go, Mr. Park. Hopefully that helped you out. All right, where were we? We're talking about Indianapolis and Houston. We will move along. Las Vegas heading to play the Jets. The Vegas team is favored by 8. 47.5 are the points here. The Jets are clearly atrocious, man. But oddly enough, they have been pretty good against the run. So I haven't really been a big Jacobs fan most of the year since the early weeks. But do you serve up another plate of Derek Carr to yourself, man? Yeah, jumping back on the car train.
Yeah, I probably will play some Derek Carr.
Right? Vegas isn't good defensively, so there's a chance Sam Darnold and Crowder spark some magic and keep a game close for a little bit. The only thing the Jets do remotely well is limit damage to the running back, so that takes Jacobs maybe out of play a little bit. It's Carr time again, isn't it? Back to back. Load him up.
Yeah, what's attractive is he's still very cheap. He's 5,800. You're playing a team that gives up the third or fourth most points to a quarterback in the league. Derek Carr has had multiple games of 4x and 5x his salary. It's not hard to get there. It's just when he plays and I roster him, he doesn't get there. He didn't kill me when he had 12 points. When he had 4, he did. But it's not going to be that bad again. Can't be that bad again, right? It just absolutely can't be. I mean, they are going to New York. They're traveling from Vegas to New York. So there's certainly reasons to fade it, but I think that's going to be built into the ownership. He's going to be sub 5%. He's probably going to be sub 2%. So, yeah, you load it up. The challenge that I've had with Derek Carr is who do you stack him with? You've got Nelson Aguilar, who was probably the guy that you stack him with, but this is just not a team that this isn't a game stack situation. It's not a run it back stack situation. This is simply a skinny stack, 1 and 2. You're playing more large fields with it. This isn't cash game. This isn't small field. That's kind of where I feel.
Well, if you go and look at the wide receiver cornerback matchups there, they've got him slated mostly against the other Lamar Jackson, who's not real good. Of course, none of them are real good.
I don't take that into too much consideration. I don't think that there's that much relevance in that. There is on outliers, but when it comes to this matchup, there's nobody here one way or the other that outperforms the matchup or impacts the matchup positively or negatively. So.
Yeah, I like Aguilar. to pen up. I don't know. Waller has been disappointing me for his salary and where else you could go, I guess. Although the tight end's been kind of a mess.
If you're going to run it back, I think you run it back with Mims. I think you can also run it back with Crowder. I mean, both of those guys have seen usage at one point or another. Mims 4 or 5 games with 8 targets in a row, and then Jamison Crowder, well documented his blow up potential with Sam Darnold, despite it not being there last week. So,
and Perriman might draw some extra attention because he did have a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing you can look at is Henry Ruggs got a lot of targets downfield. If he catches 1 or 2 more of those, maybe they score a touchdown. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, Ruggs is a guy I really like for like 2022. Dude looks good. Just needs to get a little better with timing.
Yeah,
love it. I think that old thing where the 3rd year blow up for receivers. I'm looking at him for that. Let's move along. Cleveland heading over to Tennessee. 54 is the points total in this game. 6-point favorites are the Titans. Honestly, man, 6 seems a bit high for me. It's something that I think I might want to really look at locking in. The Browns have given up 17 or less points in 4 of the last 6 games. They aren't great defensively, but they do a little better against the run. Tennessee's been roughly bottom 5 defense for most of the year. I mean, I can see the Browns not only kind of hanging in there, but with a possibility to win since Chubb has been just outstanding since he's been back. I think +6 Cleveland here is maybe my lock of the week.
I don't agree. I mean, I think you're looking too far into those defensive stats without thinking about the context. I mean, you're playing one of those games. They played the Eagles inept offensively. Wasn't the best weather. They played the Texans, great defense or a great offensive team, but the weather was awful. Really brings the point total down. And then they played the Raiders, a mediocre team in terrible weather. So I think that you're looking a little bit too far into those defensive numbers. They're a good defensive team, but they're a byproduct of the situation that they've been put into. And this Tennessee team has shown that they are able to score on any defense. I mean, look, the best defenses in the league. Look, they put up 45 against Indianapolis, 30 against Baltimore, 24 against Pittsburgh, 42 against Buffalo. I think you go to A.J. Brown. I think you go to Derrick Henry. I don't think you go to them together, but I think all of those pieces are in play. And I think you can run it back absolutely too with, we saw Jarvis Landry actually just have a great game. And again, those games in the weather were just bad. Like they were bad. They were bad games. They were bad situations for him. So yeah, I like this. It's not a super run back situation. And Corey Davis, 5,100, still producing. Only got 10 fantasy points on 3 targets last week. But again, that was a Derrick Henry week, and they didn't need him. So I disagree. I like Tennessee here, and I think this can be a very high-scoring affair.
Oh, I agree. I think it's going to be a nice high-scoring game. I don't know that they'll stop Tennessee from scoring, 4 touchdowns, but I definitely could see this as a 32-28 Tennessee victory, and that's totally fine by me. I think Cleveland's holds it close here. I don't think they win, but I think that how well Chubb has been playing, they have a shot. I don't think it's a total slam dunk that Cleveland can't win this game.
Anything can happen, man.
Anything can happen, but give me a team +6 that I think can keep it close. I mean, Cleveland's been putting up points all year. I think they can continue to do that.
Cleveland's one of the most fraudulent teams in the league.
Could be. This is the test.
Yeah, I like Tennessee.
This is a real test right here. Now, I like Corey Davis a lot. He is in the first lineup I built. I think it's a good spot for him. Dig it. All right, Cincinnati heading to Miami. Man, suddenly the Dolphins find themselves second place in the AFC, man. The Bengals are just not anything to worry about without Burrows or Mixon. Handing the reins back to Fitzpatrick was the right move for them. I think it's great for the Parker owners, Gesicki owners. Man, it's hard not to think Miami's, 11.5 is a big number. So Miami's favored 11.5 in a 42-point spread. It's low. But if Miami only had a running game, this would be an absolute blowout.
Yeah, well, Myles Gaskin, I think, is supposed to come back. So
is he? Well, if Gaskin's back, that's good news, man. I love where they're at right here. I love that they figured out, oh, shit, we have a chance. Maybe we should put Fitzpatrick back in charge.
Well, Tua was hurt too, so.
Yeah. But I think they're going to stick with him, don't you? As long as they win.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, yeah, I just don't see a lot of what the Bengals are going to do. They put up an admirable fight against a Giants team that had been playing well. I still like Tyler Boyd at that 4,700. He just didn't really catch a lot of his targets. It was more T. Higgins, but he still had 6 targets last week at 4,700, especially if they trail this game by more. It can be a situation where you can play one of these guys and run it back. Again, Parker's a great play. Gesicki's a great play. But, yeah, this game, by all means, is not one that you stack up.
What do you think about that 11.5, though?
That's a big line. I don't see a lot of ways that the Bengals score. I think that they can be really inept. I think the only thing that they have is their passing game right now, and it's not even good. And that's where the Miami strength is. But I don't know. I don't necessarily want to touch that line too much.
Yeah, that's big. I don't know. It just you have to believe Miami wants to run a game up and has the ability to run a game up. I don't know. That's a big line. Moving on to another big line. We've got Jacksonville heading to Minnesota. 52 points is the total, and 10-point favorites are the Vikings. Dude, the Jacksonville's defense is just bad. Assuming Cook is back, it's a smash. I mean, Thielen, Jefferson, just pick the one that's lesser owned. I mean, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. They're both fantastic picks. I think I just find the one that's least owned and take them. They're almost the same price, and DF I think it's $400 difference. It's not that big a deal. And because of how good Cook's been, it's been one-on-one. So all of a sudden you've got Mr. Kirk Cousins with one of the best deep ball percentages in the league. That's weird to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cousins is going to be a little bit chalky. I think a lot of people are going to go there. It's just a good matchup. It'll be interesting to kind of decipher where you're going to go on the other side of things. You have DJ Chark should be coming back, and it looked like Mike Glennon liked throwing to that big-bodied receiver. Last week it ended up being Colin Johnson over anybody else, but looks like they're getting healthy on the receiving core. Colin Johnson got 8 targets. I can't expect him to do that again. I kind of expect most of that to go back to Chark, and that's kind of where I'd go back to. It's a great game to game stack. I like Thielen. I like Chark. Jefferson's great too. I think Thielen will be a little bit lower owned. Just recency bias, last couple games, Thielen's coming back. This just feels like a Thielen game to me.
I agree. He
I don't care. Danger. I don't care. Not about what you're about to say. I don't care if he's higher owned. I saw the enthusiasm at his house. My TV setup's better than his. Better than mine.
It's true.
I think
no, man. Thielen's my guy. He's the guy I put in that lineup. I like Thielen because I'm playing mostly cash style games, and Thielen has the safer floor. Both of them have blow up potential. I just like Thielen better. But you could go either way. I like Cook and Thielen together in this matchup as long as Cook's ankle's healthy. He did say to the press that he felt good to go. But that's a lot of times what they always say to the press is I feel good to go. So we'll just have to maintain vigilance on watching Cook's status. I like Thielen even more if Cook is out. So a booyah. Moving on.
So you like their top wide receiver more if their top running back is out?
Yeah, I know. Weird theory, huh?
Let me write this down. This is good
shit.
I
know. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh,
it's
man.
Really good.
This is high-level game theory here.
Yeah, I don't really care either way, man. Just pick the guy you like, stack him with Cook, and move on. That's totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Cook anymore because he screwed me last week.
So, we're at this halfway mark. We're getting into the afternoon games. I mean, Did you want to talk about one of your favorite games, the prize pick section?
I do. I was waiting until I could crack another beer, but you just made me finish chugging faster. So we'll crack a beer first. Halfway point. Just so you know, you can find us in lots of different places. We are at Draft for Upside. On Facebook, we do have a webpage out there. We don't really keep that updated because all of our good stuff now is at fantasyfootballblueprint.com. You can see that scrolling along the bottom. Also, all this information is great, but what you really should be doing is checking us out at actually, we have to update that crawler now. We are on at 10:30 in the morning starting on Sundays, and we'll be joining Notoriety Sports Network for that broadcast and simulcasting here, of course, and at fantasyfootball.com and on a YouTube page for fantasy footballblueprint.com. So you can catch us in all those places. Now, my friend, I have opened This is Bat Country. Oh, yeah.
So we do have a question. Dennis
Oh,
Smith
yeah.
is asking if our boy Salah is coming to the D. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of coaching opportunities. There's a lot of good, not opportunities, a lot of good opportunities for good coaches to come. I don't know if he's my number one pick, but yeah, I wouldn't be sad.
I saw one of the Ball brothers is coming to the Pistons.
Yeah, the worst of the three, the middle one.
None of them are really the worst. It's the dad that's the worst.
No, this guy's not an NBA talent, dude. He's not good.
That's okay. The Pistons are barely an NBA team. It's fine.
Oh, they got some good young talent now, man. And the other big news out of the NBA today is Russell Westbrook just got traded to the Washington Wizards.
Tis true. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm not a Lions fan, so I don't care what happens to the Lions. So, no idea. What'd you say?
So you don't know basketball. You don't even know who these guys are.
No, I don't watch basketball. No, sir. No, sir, I don't. I'm pulling up my shindig here. Hold on. There we are. I wasn't ready, man. You rushed me.
Yeah, so it's going to be exciting. We're going to be on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays. We're going to be on at 10:30 instead of 11.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to be on another place where you can stream us.
That's right, man. Notoriety Sports Network will be on from 7 to 9 Tuesdays from now on. So that will be interesting. When football winds down, we'll start talking golf again. Chris and I are going to go full-fledged esports coming up after the new year. That'll be exciting. I'm going to learn, man. I hopefully he's not watching, but I bought my boy a gaming computer for Christmas, so I'll be able to play some League of Legends as well.
Yeah, and Tier 1 Valorant now is on Bovada. So if you want to bet some Tier 1 Valorant, you can. I've got some wagers in for the First Strike Cup. It starts at 3 a.m., which is really strange to me. Tomorrow is one of the days where I actually have some morning appointments. I'm probably not waking up at 3 a.m. to watch my bets. I haven't followed anything, so this is just me getting into it and placing some really degenerate, risky wagers on Jedi I know nothing about.
I like it, man. Well, I'm going to get into it with you, man, at least League of Legends. I don't know if I can do the rest, but League of Legends, I had a lot of fun watching with you, a lot of fun betting on it with you. And I think I'd really enjoy playing it. What we need is like 3 more people to put a team together so we can goof off every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, you can goof off with 2. It's okay. It's all right. You need 5.
I mean, if that's what you're into.
Mm-hmm.
I need 5. Oh.
All right. Well, you tell the world about Prize Picks. I can't do it in my state, so I'm going to take a step back. I'll be right back here to answer any questions you might have about my opinions on things that I can't participate in.
Oh, we'll get to you. We will. We'll get to you. All right, moving on. Hey, if you guys are tired of the same old DraftKings FanDuel, I mean, we all need a break. We all get a little fatigue. You got to go check out prizepicks.com. If you go in there, please sign up with a new account. Use promo code Blueprint to get yourself a 100% deposit match up to the first $100. That's a real deposit match, friends. It's real money you can play with immediately. You can put all 100 on one bet if you want even. It's great. None of that trickle-down crap. So basically, you get a projection of a player loosely around, DraftKings or Yahoo PPR ranking points, and you have to pick above or below their projection. And that's kind of a fun way to play. So we go to prizepicks.com. We look at the guys. We take 2, 3, or 4 guys. You make a parlay. You pick whether they go above or below their projection. And booyah, that's the fun. A whole nother way to play fantasy. So as soon as Chris gets back here, we'll go over a few guys. Main slates are pretty fun because you get a bunch of different games to go through. You're not playing the quarterbacks. You're just looking at skill players. So it's interesting. I like picking quarterbacks personally, but the main slate no longer has the quarterbacks, Chris. They actually have separated the regular players from the quarterbacks during the main slates.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, before, because if you picked if you picked Roethlisberger, you couldn't take any of his wide receivers or tight ends. So I think they separated that for a reason. But we got a couple of big dogs right at top. Let's get your opinion on it. 23.4 fantasy points for Dalvin Cook. assuming he's full go and healthy against Jacksonville. That's a pretty high total, but I like those chances, man. I'm going to go over 23.4.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it. Derrick Henry going up against them Cleveland Browns, 20.6.
I'm over.
I'm going to go under. He's tired. He carried too much ball last week.
No way, man. It's December.
I saw those stats during the game, dude. That's sick. The yardage and usage he got last year, insane. Alvin yeah, dude. Alvin Kamara, man, his projection just keeps going down. 14.5. That's probably the lowest all year he's been projected for a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under.
I'm with you, dude. I don't like it at all in that offense. Not at all. Calvin Ridley, 16.5 against New Orleans. That's close, but I think I'm gonna go under.
I'm gonna go under as well. I mean, keep in mind, we've talked about some of these players, and we've said, hey, you could put them in your lineup in a GPP lineup. But remember, when you're looking at this and you're making these picks, yeah, you're looking at deviations, but you're looking at the standard projection basically. What's the medium? How often, are they going to go under? Are they going to go over this number right here? Yeah, you're going to have ceiling games, you can have floor games, and you can pinpoint some of those, but if you don't have a strong take on it, I lean on the projections.
That's right. All right, let's skip down a couple here. How about Allen Robinson, 16.5?
I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I think Allen Robinson gets a lot of targets. I'm over there. Brandon Cooks, 15. I like the over here because dude could catch 10 passes, and that's 10 points on his own right there.
Yeah, I'm over.
So I don't know that he scores, but, 7-8 catches for 60 yards, it's done. So how about Nick Chubb, 16.8?
My initial thought is over. Let me see my project. Oh, that's wide receivers. That's actually no. I have them pretty way under. This is going to be one of those situations where I go against the projection. I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I like over. I think he's going to turn it up. How about TJ Hawkinson, 11.5?
Under.
Any more interesting ones in here? Your boy Tyler Boyd, 10. That's real low for Boyd.
I'm gonna go over.
But man, his median
projection, his median projections is almost 13. So I guess I could look some other places for other people's projections, but I've got him at 13. So yeah, I'll take it.
All right, last one. Jamison Crowder, 11.5. I think that's fair. If you were to ask me how many points he was going to get, I'd tell you 10 or 11. So I think I'm going to have to go under.
I'm going to go over.
I could dig that.
It's all right. I have him at 11.5. So
right. Nice. Yeah. Well, guys, you can absolutely find my articles. I write 1-2-3 times a week about prizepicks.com. If you haven't tried it, please do. It's super simple. It's super easy. Deposits and withdrawals are lightning quick. And if you are a new account and for your first deposit, please use promo code Blueprint when you sign up. You get 100% match up to $100. It's pretty slick. And like I said before, you can use that $100 immediately right on your first bet. You don't have to wait for it to trickle out like other bonuses out there. Thanks for indulging me, Christopher.
All right, let's move on.
I like it. Where were we at? We last talked about
noon games, the PM games, the ones that start after 4 o'clock.
We last talked about Minnesota, correct? We did. All right. Moving on to my list here. How about the LA Rams heading to the Arizona Cardinals? -3 favorite are the Rams. 48.5 is the total. Rams have been really good defensively. Obviously, you might have to say that they have earned it. Maybe. I tried to find the hat, dude. I don't know where it went. My kid was wearing it. I'm sorry. I wanted to do a hat switch there, but
just don't have it on the wall over here.
It is. It's usually sitting on my desk right here, so I can look at it every day. But my kid was wearing it. I don't know what he did with it. I got to find it. Anyways, it was obvious, man, last week, and we talked about it during both of our shows last week, that Kyler Murray's arm was hurting. He had a sore shoulder. He wasn't running as much. There wasn't as many designed run plays. He wasn't as accurate as he had been. Another week to go, but sadly, he has to face the Rams. So that's not looking good. I don't know what to make of this team. I think I might be on Drake for this game again on the Arizona side.
Sure. I mean, I think some of your analysis there is kind of off. I think some of it's on, but some of it's off. I have no problem with his shoulder. He was just as accurate as he always is. His completion percentage was no different than some of his other games. So I don't think there was anything that was off on that. But you're right. He's not running the ball, and that's the problem. It's not anything else. Like, that's where his upside lies. That's where his price is built in. Yeah, it's down at 7,000 right now, but 76. I guess that's halfway to 8, so I guess I should add that 6. But only 5 runs the last 2 games, where he was running 9, 10, 11, as many as 14 times. That's a big difference. The last 2 games, he didn't get into the end zone, rushing the ball. So without those things, he doesn't possess the same upside that he did. This is a good Rams defense that, you have to take that into account. It's a divisional matchup. It is the first time that they've played, so it's not typically as low scoring as the second outing. But yeah, I mean, I like the Rams here. I kind of actually like Jared Goff at 5,800.
I can get behind Goff. I mean, the Arizona defensive backs haven't been that great. As they have the potential to be, I guess.
They've been off and on. They've had their moments, and Goff at 5,800 is a off and on type of price. Like,
true.
If he was high 6s, 7,000s, then you want them to be off so he can be on. But this is a situation where you can go here, and I like DeAndre Hopkins. I like this game as a game stack. I think you can go Robert Woods, you can go Reynolds, you can go Kupp, you can do anything. You can do 2 of those guys, one with Reynolds, Woods, or Kupp, or you can do Woods or Kupp. You go with Hopkins, you go with Kirk. You just do everything in this game. This is a game where you can game stack. This might be part of my article. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I really like the third option usually against Arizona's guys. So I think this is a Josh Reynolds game. I mean, we've been pretty accurate with the games that we've liked him in, and I think this is one that I think that he gets a good couple of looks.
I mean, I think the other thing that if you want to use a little thought ladder here, let's hop on the thought ladder. The Rams have a pretty good pass rush. I think everybody can kind of agree on that.
Indeed.
So if they're rushing the passer, what then happens? Maybe the passer gets out of the pocket. Maybe he gets sacked. One of the 2 things. Gets out of the pocket. If he gets out of the pocket and it's Kyler Murray, what is he going to do? He's going to scamper off. He's going to get some rushing yards. I mean, Russell Wilson just ran for 60 yards. Daniel Jones had 45. Dak Prescott had 30. Josh Allen only had 8. That was kind of weird. But that was a weird game now that I think about it. And outside of that, they haven't really played anybody with any type of mobility. I don't think Nick Mullins or Tom Brady are guys that no matter what are going to get out there and light it up on the feet. So I think Kyler Allen, geez. If you're new to the show or you've been here for a while, we don't give a shit about names. We just make shit up.
That's right.
I got Adam White's name one time on air.
Yep, it was awesome.
You're into doing the show. And I was so drunk, it confused me. Like, I knew I got it wrong, but I couldn't remember what his name was. And he just scolded me. And it was difficult to deal with.
It was funny. I enjoyed it.
So I think Kyler's still playable here. I like this game. I wonder what the ownership is going to be. That's part of it. So when I started writing the articles at the beginning of the year and making recommendations and looking at the plays like everybody fucking else does, I didn't look at the ownership to try and at least be organic in that sense. But I've decided to kind of look at game stacks and look at different situations where we can kind of highlight leverage. And so I am looking at the ownership. And so if you are somebody that is subscribed to Fantasy Football Blueprint and you do read the articles, they used to come out early on Saturday. They're coming out a little later on Saturday now, just to get some of those last ownership numbers. And, I apologize if there's been some, poor editing because, our main editor was gone for a while and this other guy in the show, based on how quickly he posted some of the articles, did not read them.
Yeah, dude, I'm not editing those from my cell phone. So if I'm not by the computer, it's just getting copy and pasted, man. I'm not taking time.
I put it in the chat and it was posted 2 minutes later. It's like, oh God.
There you go. You're lucky from my cell phone. I'm able to get rid of all the double spacing that it automatically does when you add it to WordPress. So you're lucky you got that. But you have access to that too. You can get in there and change some things.
It's not my job.
Not mine either, my friend. Anyways, yeah. I'm on the Rams side. I like this -3 by the Rams. I am not a fan of Kyler Murray this week still, but yeah, I'm only gonna play one lineup, so my opinion's not worth that much.
You putting in that 1,500 GPP?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Moving on. Let's go to the Giants. Heading over to Seattle. We got 46.5 as the total here. The Seahawks are currently 10-point favorites here. The Giants haven't been as rollover as they were at the beginning of the year. Seattle hasn't been as smash as they were at the beginning of the year. But I think that that's going to, Seattle at home, New York traveling west. I like Seattle here just to kick some ass, man.
Yeah, no, I do too. So the problem is the Giants are probably going to be without Daniel Jones. So they're going to be running out Colt McCoy, Wayne Coleman. I mean, like come on. This is not
Freeman could be back, man. Freeman could be back. That's a game changer.
No, it doesn't change anything. Seattle adding Carlos Dunlap into the pass rush has significantly helped this defense. It's gotten better. It's not this just pick on them, and not that Colt McCoy could take advantage of it. I like Seattle here. The only thing that gives me pause, I like Seattle to win for sure. They're just rushing the ball more now. And they said that they were going to. I highlighted it in the article based off of the quote. And sure enough, they ran the ball a lot more in situations that I think that they should have and would have passed earlier in the season. They feel better as a team that way. They're not. They're worse. And the problem.
Do you think a lot of that, though, had to do they were just getting tired of giving up like 38, 40 points? And so they're like, yes, we can do these shootout games, but we're just destroying our defense and just running out of gas in the game. So we need to slow it down and run the ball.
No. Carlos Hyde ran the ball 15 times for 22 yards. That doesn't change anything. You're 3 and out. It's terrible. Carlos Hyde ran for – I didn't even look at this until right now. I was just disgusted when I pulled it up.
Yeah.
15 times for 22 yards. What the fuck are you thinking? Like, why would you do that? I mean, Chris Carson, 8 for 41. Let's give it to Carlos Hyde. Why is Carlos Hyde still in the league with Chris Carson healthy?
Right. Yeah, Chris Carson really is just kind of an extension of the passing game. So I like him a lot in this game.
Yeah, I mean – You'd hope so. Like this should be a game. Check the boxes. They're at home, a 10-point favorite. They should run the ball a lot. They want to run the ball a lot. It should go to Chris Carson. It's not. It's going to be like he's going to get like 10 or 12 carries. Carlos Hyde's going to get 10 or 12 carries.
Mm-hmm. Will Dissly is going to get a touchdown from the 1-yard line.
It's not even going to be Will Dissly. It's going to be Jacob Hollister.
Right.
So yeah.
This is going to be a terrible game to play on a showdown. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're going to run it back, though, let's say we just love Seattle and we want to run it back. Is it Slayton here? Is that the guy? Because he's kind of like he's not the lowest. He's not the highest floor guy. Obviously, Sterling's been doing a lot better job of that. But Slayton's the one guy that can like break that huge play for them, right? So if you're going to run back, it's Slayton at like what is he 4,200 or some shit?
He's 46, and I
46?
think that's certainly a viable option. I think Shepard got them, and it's a game that was on my TV here. It seemed like Shepard was getting most of the targets from Colt McCoy, so I wouldn't have a problem going back to him at 5,300. The problem is, what can we expect? 6 or 7 catches for 50, 60 yards, 12 points. Doesn't really get us there. He's certainly has top end speed that he could break it. I don't know. I'm just probably not going to be here. If Daniel Jones was playing, like you could look at some of these wide receivers, but it's Colt McCoy.
Yeah, I think I'm on a Carson by himself in this game.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm only playing one lineup. I think Carson is in consideration for that. All right, moving on to the guy who's probably going to quarterback my team here. Philadelphia Eagles heading to Green Bay. 9-point favorites are the Packers. 47.5 points here. I mean, I think that if I'm only playing one lineup, I might as well just put Rodgers to Adams and just forget about it. Just move on. Just don't even think about it. Yeah,
I mean, I might play Green Bay's defense too.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, again, it goes back to when we look at wins. At this point, he has been sacked Oh man, let's pull this up.
And the only thing Philadelphia does any kind of, or I'm sorry, the only thing Green Bay doesn't do well is stop the run, but nobody's fucking running the ball for the Eagles, especially when they're down 28-0, halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, look, Carson Wentz threw another interception. He's only had 2 games all season where he didn't throw an interception, multiple 2-game interceptions, 15 on the season. He's been sacked 46 times.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, dude. 46 times, and then I'm sure he's fumbled the ball a few times. I just don't have that in my little stats here. Even if Jalen Hurts comes in, I think that just even makes it more like a Green Bay situation. Yeah, you can play Devontae Adams, but he's up at 9,000. I don't know if that's a spot that I want to go to. Certainly has the capability of doing it. And then I don't think that there's anywhere that you can go on Philly's offense at all. Like, just Zach Ertz should be back. That's going to hurt Goddard, and Goddard is the only piece of this offense that seemingly has any type of consistency, and he may still with Zach Ertz, but I'm not interested in.
So a 3-player stack in this game: Rodgers, Adams, defense.
Yeah, or you could go like Rodgers, Tanyan. I think Tanyan's also playable at 3,700, and typically a bad tight end market for 3,700.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, man. Every time I've played Rodgers this year, he has not let me down, and every time I've decided to go elsewhere, I've been disappointed. So, yeah, I think I'm just gonna stick with Rodgers. I like those late games too. Let's move along.
I mean, the reality is, if you played Rodgers at all this season, this is one of his better seasons. I mean, in recent memory, there is this aura around Aaron Rodgers, but for a couple of years there, like between 2015, 16, 17, there's a couple of years he was just bad. Not bad, but like bad fantasy wise. He didn't put up big numbers. They still won, but it just wasn't lighting anything up. This year he has. I mean, the game against Tampa is the one and only game where he didn't play well. I think you can even play with Rodgers by himself if you're not sure where to go, or if you don't want to pay up for Adams.
I do. I like to pay up for Adams. I like it. Although, they do tend to go away from him when they're up in big games, when they're not being challenged, because he tends to get hurt. So, yeah, you're right. Could be a Rodgers by himself kind of game. Could be. All right, moving on. Last game on the main slate, New England Patriots heading to the Chargers. My sheet says it's a pick'em game at 47 points for the total. I mean, the Chargers just can't win a game. What do you make of this?
It opened as the Chargers +1 or -1. Now it's, or actually they were -1.5, but now they're +1. So that's a bet that I took. Chargers have been in nothing but close games, but they should win most of these games. The coaching is atrocious. I mean, you saw the end of that game. There was just every play in that last 70 seconds after the Hail Mary was just puzzling. You get up to the line, you have a first down on the 1, and you run the ball. Why? Takes you 30 seconds to get up, and then you mess up the play, and then on the last play, the guys are pass blocking while the quarterback's running. Terrible. It's all coaching.
Yeah. Close games for sure, but I mean, they've lost everything except for the Jets, and they beat the Jags, I guess.
Well, yeah, but the whole point is that if you're only at 1 point and they're close in every single situation, I mean, I like it here. I don't think that New England's that good. I'm not sure that I really want to go. The only concern that I have is the defense at New England seems to be playing a little bit better than they were early in the season. Kind of limiting other teams from scoring bunches on them, not able to capitalize and score bunches themselves. It's just not how that offense is built. They have no wide receivers of any type of talent. Certainly we can play some of these guys in DFS because of their price tag, but Jacoby Myers is at 5,500. I want no part of. Damiere Byrd is just, I'm not going to chase that game from 2 weeks ago with the 7 targets. Just not.
Now, screw that guy, dude. I picked him 5 weeks in a row for a tipsy pick. I finally quit talking about him, and he has a good game. Screw that guy.
I think the guy you can play, though, is Austin Eckler. I mean, 7,000. Keenan Allen's still too expensive for me at 8,100.
Eckler's in my first build. He's the only guy I like in this game.
Mike Williams at 4,800, I think, is still viable for large field GPPs because he can still pop off His price is still such that he doesn't need a huge piece of this offense to get there and get there 4, 5, 6x. Keenan Allen he's just too expensive, and his role is going to be different with Austin Eckler taking some of those short passes. So we haven't seen Keenan Allen in this offense with Eckler, and when we did, those were the games he was not effective. I shouldn't say not effective, but not effective in terms for our fantasy teams. After Eckler got hurt is when he started to blow up. And then again, like I even highlighted before we knew Eckler was going to be there, it didn't matter. His price has risen to such a point where I think for him to exceed the value that you need is going to be such a rare situation that I'm not interested.
I'm with you, man.
And it's crazy, like, look, I looked at, like, let's say, like, Mark's lineup from this past week in the seasonal group that we have, and I thought Mark's lineup was really sharp, except for Keenan Allen, and he scored that touchdown, and I was like, well, shit, if Keenan Allen goes off, I love his lineup. Ended up being shitty like mine.
Yeah. We had a rough week, didn't we?
I thought it was well put together, though.
Yeah, I was excited about my lineup, and no, man, nothing. And I've had a couple of second places. Both weeks I took second place, I lost by less than a point. Both weeks.
It's a bummer.
Real bummer. Real bummer. All right, man. We covered it, bro. We covered it in 1 hour's time. Look at that.
We are done.
You got anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, man. Well, we are Draft for Upside. You can catch us on our Facebook page. You can catch all of our premium content at www.fantasyfootballblueprint.com. We will be seeing you at 10:30 in the morning Sunday with your start-sit questions, our final thoughts on the DFS. We will be simulcasting from the Notoriety Sports Network, NSN. Please look them up on Facebook as well. And then, of course, this week's show is the last one on Wednesdays. We are transitioning to 7 to 9 p.m. Tuesdays for the remainder of the football season. I'm Johnny Danger for Chris Emmerich. We'll see you Sunday morning.